Now that right there, that's a V-fin. Hey, what is up everyone? Welcome back to yet another Master Grade Gundam review, and today I'm taking a look at the Bandai Master Grade Gundam Astray Red Dragon. But anyway, they keep getting crazier and crazier with the red frames. This right here is madness incarnate. It looks great. Not quite as crazy as the turn red, but have you ever seen a V-fin that nuts? Either way, if you do want one of these guys of your own, it may be hard to get outside of Asia because, of course, this is a premium Bandai kit. As for me, I got this through BUYEE, who are now helping out the channel, making sure that every single premium Bandai kit gets reviewed. And personally, I did ask them myself to do this because I have never used a proxy service so good ever. When I was living in Japan, I always used to buy all my gunpla off Amazon. So with this service, I can just go to Amazon Japan, use their handy dandy Chrome extension and buy it as if I was just buying it straight from Amazon. It gets shipped to them, you can put all your packages into the one box, consolidate them together, then you can edit your customs document, and they'll send it off to you. Awesome. So once again, thank you to BUYEE for sponsoring these Bandai reviews. Without them, these would not be happening. So if you're looking for some Bandai, I highly recommend checking them out. But anyway, onto the review. So this right here is what you get once you clip this all out and snap it together. And basically all I used was the eye stickers and did no more effort whatsoever. So this is it without all the equipment that makes it into the Red Dragon. So you might be like, wait a minute, yeah. Essentially this right here is just the standard Gundam Astray red frame with a new head. So this particular head unit is known as the drag head or drag head. As far as I know, this and the Kadlvich or whatever it's called, I'm gonna assume it's all Welsh. So if you're the one Welsh person watching this video and I'm butchering these, I'm very, very sorry. But anyway, this particular head here goes with the Kadlviches. And according to the general lore, this massive V-fin on this particular head, mixed with the Kadlviches, which will be on the backpack I'll mention later and talk about later, this is all for affecting Mirage Colloid systems, aka the thing that makes the Blitz invisible, so it stops other units using stealth capabilities. As for that big Dragon Ball Kaioken aura that appears in behind the V-fin, that is part of that stealth blocking system. But honestly, that's just an excuse for having a big, massive, flaming V-fin. Looks epic. So once again, the entire body of this is exactly the same as the red frame Kai. You can see right here to the left. Of course, the only difference is the head and the backpack. The backpack is off your standard red frame. But once again, physically this kit is exactly the same as what we would have seen so many years ago with the red frame Kai. The only difference is the head and backpack. The backpack is the standard Gundam Astray red frames backpack. And you might be wondering at this point, can you build the standard Gundam Astray? God, saying it too many times. Can you build the standard Gundam Astray red frame with this kit? And you can't because it does not include the head. It's got this drag head. Nor can you build the red frame Kai because you don't have the red frame Kai head, nor its weapons. So although you can get close to the standard red frame with this kit, the only difference is the head. And of course, if you want to build this standard red frame, well, of course, that's Bandai too. Color accuracy wise, the entire body that we saw before with the Kai is absolutely and utterly brilliant. Here is the sheet of stickers though, and you can see that it does come with quite a lot. 9 and 10, they're the red ones, they go on the chest. That's the only real issue with the actual body itself. But the head on this thing is a joke. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are all for the gray vents on its head. Honestly, I'd recommend just getting yourself a gray panel liner pen, scribble that all in, fade it out for a nice finish. Like this, fuck it, I'll do it. I think this looks a whole lot better than sticking on a sticker. It's very fast, very easy. And if you're not going to paint it, I think this is the best and easiest method. Of course, always the best method is do the painting. As for the rest of the stickers on this, there's a whole lot of green reflecty ones on here. All of these are for using on the backpack, 8 is for on the front of the flight unit, and the rest, as far as I know, are for on the Kadlviches. Also, another staple with Bandai kits, we've got a nice sheet of water slide decals in here. These are extremely nice. I haven't used any of these on the kit, but here's a picture from the back of the manual that will show you what it will look like with all of these stuck on, and these really do suit the kit. They look great. The last thing I'll mention then about the kit is the build right here. If you've ever built a master grade red frame, you know exactly what it's like. It is solid as a rock. This is a kit that is aged like fine wine. The head itself, again, is the most awkward aspect. The back of the head can pop off a lot, causing the whole head to fall off. I would recommend gluing that just so it stays in place, but besides that, the body that old school red frame Kai body is solid as a brick shithouse. It's also worth noting that for a kit this old, there is an absolutely crazy amount of undergating going on here. That might slow you down a bit while building it, but it's still a simple and fast build. All in all, this kit must have blown minds when it came out back when it came out, because still, to this day, it is fantastic. The only thing that has made subsequent Master Grade Astrays not so great is the amount of crap they tend to pile up on them. The core unit itself is great, but some of them feel a bit like playing a game of Buckaroo while building them. I'm looking at you, Blue Frame D. But anyway, as for a bit of a comparison, there it is side by side with the Granddaddy Gundam. And here's some Astrays. Once again, the red frame Kai, the absolutely badass Astray Noir, the blue frame D, and of course, the Sengoku Astray. Lastly then, there it is side by side with the absolutely awesome high-resolution Gundam Astray red frame. So now moving on to what makes the Red Dragon, and of course that is the accessories. So here it is with absolutely everything that it comes with. So basically what we've got in here is a full action base with this clear arm, the flight unit with 3 Kattleviches attached, effect part for using with the V-fin, and as for the weapons, we've got that Gerberus straight, beam rifle, the shield, as well as 2 beams. What? Seriously, not again. Not again. There is no beams in this box. This kit comes with 2 beam sabers, but once again, no beams. What is this? I get it, the thing has 4 giant swords, but why include the beam saber handles when they're not necessarily needed? This does pull down out of the way to attach the backpack, so I guess the whole point is that it doesn't use them, but at the same time, seriously, you could just throw in the beams. Just throw in the beams. Anywho, we're gonna move to the stuff that came in previous kits before quite quickly. First off, I will mention the hands. These are those old school 3 fingers attached, 1 finger and thumb. And speaking of which, I asked you guys in previous video, what's your favorite style of hands? And that is... Up next then, we've got the shield. We've seen this kind of shield so many times before. This can attach onto the back of the forearm, spin around at this point. Next up is the beam rifle. This is fairly simple. The foregrip can move side to side, just like so. We have the full Gerberus straight as well as the sheath. Just like the standard version of the red frame, this attaches onto the side skirting here, using this little adapter piece. But also included in here because of the way the runners are laid out is the Tiger Pierce. This does not have a sheath for using with it. And the only thing that makes it any different from the Gerberus straight is the kanji on this section of the blade underneath the hilt. So essentially, free katana. So with that out of the way, let's move on to what makes the Red Dragon. So first off, we do have that included action base with extra clear arm. I'll mention what this is for in a little while. We do have this specific adapter for using with its flight unit. Here is the flight unit with those 3 Kattleviches attached. The flight unit itself has a bunch of moving parts, a flap up on top, the upper section can move up and out on 2 different points of pivoting, the lower section can slide forward and back, and these 2 lower thrusters are on ball joints. The arms attaching the Kattleviches, which give this kit the name of Red Dragon as they resemble a pair of wings and a tail. The arms attaching these can rotate, pivot at this point, and pivot up here slightly at this point. These attach quite easily, but are very securely held in place. And of course these can be posed all around, moved over the shoulders as offensive weapons. And an interesting bit of information about these things is they're not actually weapons, these are tools for cutting and welding. Of course the limiters can be removed and they can be used as offensive weapons, so that is pretty interesting. So right now I'm just after reading the Japanese that's on the manual here, and this is not Kattleviche, this is Kalitwolf. I'm just gonna have to go with Kalitwolf. For now, I guess. I don't know. Either way, these are one of those weapons that can disassemble into multiple pieces, 4 in this particular case, and reassemble in multiple forms. So taking the main body of this thing, then the handle, sticking the handle in this under section here, you get what is G mode, or even more simply put, gun mode, and of course this is a form of beam rifle. The 2 blade sections of the Kalitwolf can be used separately, just as swords themselves. We also have this little thingamabobber which is separate. You can use this with 2 of the longer blades from 2 of the Kalitwolves as a kind of long glaive-ish thing. You can take 2 of the smaller blades, attach them together into this smaller glaive, and just by taking the standard version of it, which we would have pulled directly from the backpack, you can just take the longer blade, pull it off, and stick it in the end for this huge sword, which is S mode. And if that's not big enough, you can take this little adapter bit again, take 2 of those huge swords and stick them together for an even bigger, absolutely colossal glaive. The Astray Red Dragon really is giving Gundam 00 a run for its money. And as for that arm I mentioned earlier on, that clear arm that came extra with the base, well, of course that is for holding these weapons up because they are incredibly heavy. So now moving on to the build and the articulation, and I'm not going to do this completely in depth because this kit has been around for quite a while. At least the body and at least 90% of this kit has been around for many a year. However, I will mention that this has always been a staple, or even a benchmark even, of how good master grade articulation is. It has aged a bit at this point, there's no denying that, but you can really eke out some fantastic poses with this. Most of the joints are great, the build quality here is pretty much absolute perfection. This isn't going to fall apart on you. The only real letdown with this, of course, is the torso unit. So the central section of this kit, the waist, torso, all of that has next to zero articulation, which really does let this down. Of course, the newer high-resolution Gundam Astray Red frame, which I reviewed a couple of months back, absolutely blows this thing out of the park. This still has that old-school mix of great articulation and a very solid build in a very light, compact kit, which makes it a whole lot of joy to pose. Of course, another down point is those old hands. These aren't great. The ankles both look and are incredibly basic. That's just a standard ball joint. Of course, the standard master grade gimmicks are here. That is that moving knee armor when you bend the knees. We've got some moving armor on the elbow when you bend the elbow, and we've got a fully opening cockpit hatch. So that right there is it for the review. And what can I say? This is better than the sum of its parts. The standard red frame Kai, I would say, is a silver tier Gundam. That is, it's pretty much exactly what you would expect from a master grade. Baseline quality, solid as a rock, great articulation. Some aspects of it really aren't up to modern standard, like the articulation at the waist, the hands, etc. But all in all, I would say it's standard silver ground tier. Definitely doesn't fail the grade, but at the same time, it does nothing new. Even though you could say the same for the base of this, the Red Dragon right here, somehow all the parts come together in a perfect storm of awesome, and the red frame has never ever looked this photogenic. Everything that's been done with this, from tiny little things like the style of the base adapter, which is a little saddle that it just sits into, perfectly I might add, to the massive things like the fact that the Kalit Wolves, I'm just gonna say that once and once only, they are absolutely and utterly perfect. Solid as a rock, hold together great, combine in every different way perfectly, and all in all, this kit right here could be the perfect master grade Astray kit. Some of these master grade Astrays, like I've mentioned before, have a bit of a buckaroo complex, so much stuck onto them that most of the time you're just waiting for it all to just fall off. This is not the case. A lot is going on here, but it is held on tight. The only real down point I will mention is the head isn't as color accurate as it could be. The same old issues are there, like the non-color accurate hands, but all in all, at the end of the day, this is most definitely gold tier and awesome. A great kit, definitely. Somehow, magically, better than the sum of its parts. But anyway, if you do want one of your own, there is a link down there in the description. If you're looking for P Bandai, there is no better place than BUYEE. You have my word. As always, make sure to come back for more Gunpla reviews, and I'll see you next time.